This is our culminating solution for our project-based learning. The big idea was to engage students to think about flight and how flight could be made possible by using nature to help model human flight. As we tossed around several ideas, our first consideration was to consider the drop of a flying object based on the speed of the flight in relative to time. However, as we sorted through our ideas to consider the ability of particular animals' ability to fly, we decided on our essential question. How can we use nature to help model human flight? Based on this question, we sought to challenge learners to create a flying mechanism that uses something in nature as a model. Students would have an opportunity to create and design a flying device based on their individual preferences of the nature of flying animals. We developed 4 guiding activities that students would engage in and provide them with information related to flight. In the first set of guided activities, learners studied the basic idea of how things fly. The outcome of the activities was that students learned how birds, insects, and man-made crafts fly, wings work, and to design a craft that flies fast and high. Here's an example of something that a student may have found. How do dragonflies fly? Dragonflies are marvels of flight engineering. They can fly forward at speeds of 35 miles per hour or more. They can also fly backwards, change directions in midair, and hover for up to a minute. Dragonflies have 4 wings, 2 on each side of their bodies. Scientists believe that they twist their wings on the downward stroke, creating a whirlwind of air that flies across the wings. This creates the lift that keeps them flying. In the second set of guided activities, learners explored how helicopters, airplanes, and hang gliders fly. The outcome of the activities was that students learned about how the propeller drives the plane forward by pushing the air backwards, how force lifts an airplane and holds it up, and the process of how airfoil helps crafts fly. Here are certain activities that students may have gone through to learn about pressure and airfoil. It doesn't matter whether you move the air over the top of the strip of paper by blowing or whether you move the paper rapidly through the air. Either way it rises. This is due to the pressure being unequal because of the airfoil shape of the wings. The third essential set of guided activities, learners explored what kinds of animals fly, how and why they fly, and determined whether all animals fly in the same way. The outcome of the activity was that students learned how many different organisms fly and the advantages of their flight capabilities. It isn't the same as successful, sustained flight, but the biological world is aflutter with animals that have adapted ways of gliding, parachuting, or ballooning through the air. Now when it comes to wings, when a bird flaps its wings, air is pushed downward. This produces an opposite force that lifts the bird into the air. Since a bird's wing is in the shape of an airfoil, it produces some lift even when the bird is just gliding. This is an example of information that a student may have found throughout their project. The last guided activity, learners explored how parachutes are similar and different to flying organisms and other flying devices, how the distance formula demonstrates and performs the performance of a parachute, and what factors play into the effectiveness of the flight time of a parachute. The outcome of the activity was that students learned the elements of constructing and flying a parachute and how to apply the distance formula in order to measure the drop of a flying device or parachute. In the event that the chute goes forward, a proper measurement of the descent rate should involve the extra measurement of the horizontal distance covered. This is easily done by measuring the horizontal distance between the drop point and the landing point of the payload. And here we have our descent speed, which is given by the formula, where you have your travel distance, horizontal distance, and plumb line length as variables in your equation. Throughout the guided activities, students researched the basic elements and forces of flight, the essential mechanisms required for both flight of animals and man-made flying devices, the types of animals that fly, the various ways animals fly, and the reasons why animals might fly. Here are some examples of videos students may have used in order to come up with
Hummingbirds are so called because of the humming sound created by the rapid movement of their brightly coloured wings. They're the only bird that can fly backwards and have long needle-like bills and tongues to obtain nectar and catch insects.
Reflective of the research based on students' ideas in relation to the effectiveness of their aircrafts, the products will be evaluated on the methods of flight best suited for different conditions and jobs. And we always need our coffee. Here's a result that students may have come up with. Throughout the research of various types of flying creatures and man-made crafts, along with the principles and laws of flight, the possible final solution was a craft that had wings that moved similar to that of a hummingbird, with enough speed to create lift, enough surface area to slow descent, an airfoil shape to maintain flight, as well as the dexterity to apply all of these principles to flying backwards. And here is what a sample sketch may have looked like.